There's a lot of news right now coming out of 49ers OTAs, but how do you make sense of it? What matters and what doesn't matter? Well, don't worry. We're here for you. Plus, Brock Purdy gave a sit down interview with Tim Kawakami that was very interesting, and I'm going to defend the indefensible when it comes to the 49ers. All that and more coming up on today's Gold Standard Podcast. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another 49ers Gold Standard Podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera alongside Michelle Majuk. We are here on a Friday, the last Friday before mandatory minicamp begins next week. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. I was telling you before we got on, I did have the grossest donut of all time before joining, so my belly is not extremely happy, but I have a mimosa to wash it down, so everything will be okay.
You've got a mimosa. You've got some sort of blueberry coffee drink that I didn't know existed until you just mentioned it. So you're in your element right now.
I am. I'm doing great. My blueberry shaken espresso, delicious.
Really quick before we get to the OTA news, tell everybody what you said to me when you said I had the grossest donut of all time. Immediately after that, you said what?
But I ate the whole thing, and it was big. But it was called the Ranch, and I had to try it. I don't normally get a donut. But it was called the Ranch, and it had cream cheese on top of this donut, which already is kind of gross. And then the ranch powder mixture in it. And I love ranch so much. I love ranch dressing, so I had to try it. And every bite I took, I knew how gross it was, but I kept going, and it was not good.
What is wrong? First of all, why does that exist on this planet? Okay, we don't need a donut with cream cheese and ranch seasoning on it. Like, no. And second of all, why did you keep eating it?
I don't know. I was already in it, and I'm not a quitter.
Okay, well, I guess good job, you. That is the grossest thing I've ever heard. There's only two kinds of donuts that anybody should eat: glazed and chocolate frosted. The rest can go to hell. Anyway, let's get into some 49ers news from OTAs, Michelle. I got to tell you, I like my 49ers news. I like my positive 49ers news. I was listening to Matt Barrows and Tim Kawakami talk about 49ers standouts at OTAs, and what they said about the wide receivers brought up a question that I hadn't thought to ask before. Here's what they said.
Jordan Watkins, I thought, looked pretty good because he's out there. He's getting the reps. Jacob Cowing had a really nice catch. Jordan Watkins is getting some of that Debo. Like, he's getting the end of rounds. He's getting some of that stuff. We'll see.
That'll be interesting. I think that Cowing and Jordan Watkins are probably competing for the same spot in the pecking order at wide receiver. And, they do some of the same things. Both have, 4.3 something speed. Watkins just looks so smooth when he catches the ball.
I hadn't thought about the idea of Watkins and Cowing essentially competing for the same spot. And I don't really know who I want to root for.
For me, I think it's Watkins, because I think he has a much higher ceiling than Jacob Cowing does. Jacob Cowing's probably the safer bet to, be able to get 500, 600 yards. But I do think if Watkins hits, he would be just have way more potential than Jacob Cowing would.
First, I was like, all right, well, Cowing's really fast, right? He ran a 4.38. Cool. Watkins ran a 4.37. So, they're actually just as fast. Their 10-yard splits were basically identical. And Jordan Watkins is slightly bigger. Jacob Cowing is 5'9". Jordan Watkins is 5'11", almost 200 pounds. I like the idea of still doing some of the Debo stuff. Cool. I'm down with that. Watkins is a guy that lined up at different spots in college a little bit. But I always thought of them as hey, you can put them both on the field at the same time. But now Barrows is saying that maybe essentially there's only one spot for both of those guys. So I'm so going to be locked in to the wide receivers on this team in the preseason.
That makes a lot of sense, though, right? Because most times you're only going to have 3 wide receivers on the field max. So if that's Pearsall, Jennings, and then until Ayuk gets back, one of those 2 guys, or even once Robinson's done with his suspension, Robinson's probably going to get some playing time too. So I can definitely see Watkins and Cowing right now are definitely battling for that playing time.
And there's Kawakami said at the beginning of the clip, there's going to be opportunity because Pearsall is not going to practice till training camp. Ayuk obviously is not going to be out there. Juwan Jennings, I don't think, was out there yesterday. So like he's going to be the guy to get the reps. So those two guys are going to compete. I'm excited to watch that this preseason, big time. I could tell from what they said, there's a little bit of concern now with Ricky Pearsall about how much practice time he has missed last year and this year. Don't love hearing that, but the wide receiver room outside of those guys is super young, and there's potential there. That's all I'm going to potential. We don't know what they can actually do. But, I think sometimes with the 49ers, we think of like, oh, this is such an older team. There's, older guy. Not really at wide receiver.
No, but the issue with this is that we're saying this about too many position groups now. Like there's potential, right? At least we have potential. We're saying that about too many groups, and that's just too risky, and they're not all going to hit. So there's going to be some really bad positional groups on this team next year because we can't expect all of these young guys to come through.
I would venture to say, I think I can predict your answer, but the position group that you think would, of these young guys, that's going to flop. If you had to pick one, what would you pick?
Safety. So
I
easily.
knew it.
Yeah. I mean, their safety group is just pathetic right now. That's the word I'm going to use. Pathetic. I don't know what they're doing.
Without Malik Mustafa.
No, just total. I mean, even when Mustafa's back and like if he's ready to go and Jair Brown, like that's already so risky with nobody to back him up. And now you're dealing with injuries. I don't know what they're doing with the safety position.
I think they're going to add somebody at some point before we get to the start of training camp. I think that's like homework assignment for John Lynch. The 49ers love to talk about the 40 days between minicamp and training camp and what players have to do during those 40 days. It's very important to them. Well, John Lynch, for you, your job in that 40 days is to find another safety, and not just like a Richie Grant, like somebody that can actually play a little bit and contribute in a meaningful way and really threaten to win a starting job.
Julian Blackmon.
Yes.
I just want to go fly to San Francisco, grab John Lynch, fly to wherever Julian Blackmon is, hand him a contract, and just make it get done.
And I can't remember who it was. It might have been your Steelers, who we'll get to.
Not my Steelers anymore.
We'll get to that before the end of the show. I think the Steelers or somebody just signed a safety, and it wasn't Julian Blackmon. And I'm like, damn, what did this guy do? What did he do that no NFL team has wanted to bring in a 26-year-old player who's not coming off a major injury, who has been solid when he's been out there recently?
Maybe he's actually looking for a big contract this time because he played on his rookie contract, and it's not like it was a big rookie contract. He got a very small one-year deal last year. So maybe now he's finally trying to cash in, and no teams are really ready to pay for that for a safety position, especially like one that is not one of the elite guys. They just really don't get paid, right? So maybe he's just asking for too much right now.
The other piece of news that I thought was interesting coming out of OTAs yesterday is Mac Jones looks bad. Looks bad. Like this
shocker.
It's not all positive news, but people are like, yeah, he's missing throws. And actually, Mac Jones himself this week said he was struggling, which I thought was interesting. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. Mac Jones literally at the podium was like, yeah, it wasn't my best practice. Like he's overthrowing guys. He doesn't look really confident in what he's doing. And like, look, it's early, but this was supposed to be the tailor-made spot and offense for Mac Jones. That's what we heard leading into the draft in 2021, that this was like, it was all supposed to fit. And apparently right now it's not.
Yeah. I mean, Mac Jones has now been on 3 teams and he has not been good for any of them. Well, I mean, 2 teams he hasn't been good for. But yeah, I'm not expecting high hopes. What we need from him is just not to be the worst. The weird thing is that he's not doing well in practice, because I do feel like he's like that type of player that when there's not pressure and stuff like that, like he's an accurate thrower. I think he can be an accurate thrower. So I'm surprised he's struggling in practice. That's a concern. But at the same time, if Brock Purdy goes down, I'm not holding out hope for this team anyways.
Well, they're going to need someone to try and keep it afloat. I thought maybe Mac Jones could be the guy, but I forget who it was. Somebody said when they signed him, they were like, look, he's going to talk a good game from the podium. It's going to sound good. You're really going to start to believe. But then when you get out there on the field, it's just not there. And that was the first thing that flashed into my head. And again,
remember when Brock Purdy, though, after his rookie year, he had bad reviews at first in camp.
Yes.
So it doesn't really mean anything.
The weirdest thing was he had bad reviews and good reviews from camp at the same time. It was just like incredibly frustrating. But yeah, and it is early, and so I want to cut Mac Jones a little slack, but that is part of the story of what is coming out during these OTAs is that he doesn't look good. And not everybody, it's not glowing reviews for everybody. There's been some reviews on some guys that have, some of them along the offensive line that have not been great. But I'm going to defend the 49ers offensive line, Michelle. I'm going to try and do the indefensible. And part of it comes in reaction to an article that I read from Dieter Kurtenbach, who is defending the offensive line a little bit. And his main point, and I think I agree with it, is you might not think the 49ers offensive line is very good. But compared to offensive lines around the league, it kind of holds up. Now, it's not the Eagles, but like, who's the second best offensive line in the league?
It was the Lions, I guess, with Ragnow retiring. Maybe it's not.
Right. So maybe it's Philly, or I'm sorry, maybe it's Buffalo. Like, whoever you want to pick. The point is, like, we can't really name the fourth best offensive line in the league, right? It's kind of just like the top and then everybody else thrown into this mix. And the other thing is you've got
the Broncos.
Aaron Banks, who just got a massive contract from the Packers, and we're all sitting there cackling about that, right? And then you've got Jalen Moore, who barely played for the 49ers, got a whole bunch of money from the Kansas City Chiefs, who have to protect Patrick Mahomes. Moore wasn't even good enough to start for the 49ers. Aaron Banks was the weakest 49ers lineman, arguably, last season. He got a bag of money. So if the other teams around the league are valuing the 49ers offensive line the way that they are, how bad can it really be?
I just think some teams are just stupid, right? But I mean, when you don't try to upgrade Jake Brendel, it's bad.
Well, let's get to the Brendel thing, because I'm stunned to say this, but Chris Forster was defending Jake Brendel, and not just defending him like a little bit. Chris Forster, the 49ers offensive line coach, said Jake Brendel had the best season last year of any 49ers center that they have had in the Shanahan era.
Okay.
He said, and he was asked about, like, hey, like, why, how are you judging that? Like, what metrics are you using to judge that? And he talked about, missed mental assignments. He had the fewest missed mental assignments. He had the fewest blown blocks. He was all in on Jake Brendel. Like, not just saying, hey, we believe in Brendel. Like, literally said he's the best center, and last year was the best center any Shanahan 49ers center has ever had.
I just feel like that's a made up thing to say about one of your guys. I just feel like it just made up. I mean, he needs to answer more than just whatever he said.
Let me see if I can find the actual quote. I want to be fair to him. I just had it, and of course I lost it. Son of a, hang on. Let's see. Forster Brendel. Sorry, I'll bring it up in a second. But he was all about it. Ben Barch apparently is going to be the starting left guard. Like, they think he has won that. Now, he looked good a little against the Bills, but it was a snow game, and it was a very small sample because he got hurt. But he is huge, by the way. I did not realize Ben Barch is 6'6", 315. But it is shaping up as Trent Williams at left tackle, who a lot of people think looks slim and trim and looks really good. Ben Barch, Jake Brendel, Dominic Pooney, Colton McKivitz. That seems to be what the 49ers are doing at offensive line. Spencer Burford has been working out at tackle while Trent Williams was not there. He reportedly looks pretty good. And then the other guy that got good reviews is Austin Pleasance, who is another huge friggin' guy, Michelle. 6'7", 328. So that is how the Niners offensive line is shaping up. And I think it's better than people think it is.
Just, I needed to see what, I know PFF's not the end all be all, but I just wanted to see what they had him at this past year. If their best center they had under Shanahan got a 55 pass blocking grade, do we just think PFF's just against the 49ers? Like, I don't think that's the case, right? And he got a 55 pass blocking grade. That was 7th worst among centers last year. I just don't know how that's the best center you've had. Like, that's just a false statement. Or you've had the worst centers ever.
Well, it hasn't been like a who's who of centers. It's been Weston Richburg after he got hurt. Alex Mack at the end of his career.
And also, my favorite thing is that he says he doesn't make any mental mistakes. He had 10 penalties last year. That was third most, or tied for second most among centers. So that's an interesting thing to say.
Here's the quote from Forster, because I want to be fair to him. Fewest amount of missed assignments. His pass protection was the highest grade. His run grade, pass protection grade, and his mental errors were the best they've been since he's been here.
What grades? What grades is he talking about? Because he got a 55 grade on PFF. So what other grade is he talking about?
They've been better than any center that we've had playing here up to this point. He said, Forster acknowledged how Brendo is viewed inside and outside the 49ers facility and said it was, quote, interesting. Everybody looks at something different. I know what we asked him to do on any given play and what his role is and what his job is, so I can grade it. But that doesn't mean that's how everybody else grades. They can grade him 65th out of 32. That's their choice. That is the Chris Forster defense of full-throated defense of Jake Brendel.
It just seems like maybe Jake Brendel's a fun guy that people like to be around. Like that's what this is giving. Like this is giving like I really like this guy, so I'm blinded by his production.
It's it kind of reminds me of essentially like how the 49ers view guys in the draft, right? Like, hey, we have this guy, we have the way we grade. This is the way this guy graded out. You may think we took him 2 rounds or 1 round ahead of where we should have, but this is how we're evaluating it. And so that's what we're doing. That's kind of what they're telling you with Jake Brendel. Like PFF grades him differently. We grade him this way. And in our grading system, he works out.
Yeah, because you could just make up stuff. Sure.
that is true. I mean, you could grade in any way you want. You could put him on a massive curve.
Someone should ask about the penalties.
That's fair. But I would say those are more probably, depends on what the penalties are. If it's like a false start or something like that, then it's more of a mental error. If it's like holding, to me, that would be more of a physical error.
Well, either one are issues. So
I mean, neither one is good.
The only center that had more was Graham Barton, who was a rookie last year. So the only one that made more mistakes than him for penalties was a rookie center.
Forster also said, my job is to weigh him against all other centers in the league and all the others coming out in the draft and how they fit our scheme.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just reading the quotes. I'm passing it along. I'm not saying I agree.
Coaches can be so stubborn.
I mean, part of it might also be like they didn't really add anyone that can take a spot. So like they don't have anybody else. Like Drake Nugent, I think, is going to be the backup center. It's like, well,
it's almost like there was centers out in free agency.
Well, we were on the Chris Dahlman train and we were on the who's the other guy? Kelly? Somebody?
Yeah, Ryan Kelly.
Ryan Kelly. Yeah. We were on that train. But yeah, that was the Chris Forster comment that is making the rounds, and people are making jokes because of the issues that Chris Forster had in the past with hard drugs and this comment that is seemingly crazy. I'm not going to go there, but they like Jake Brendel. That's the offensive line that they think they're going with. We'll see how it works out. I think the Niners offensive line is better than people. It can't be that the league values the guys that they valued at the level that they valued him at, and that the 49ers offensive line is complete garbage, because it can't be that much worse than the rest of the league if the rest of the league is paying those guys what they're paying Aaron Banks and Jalen Moore.
I don't know what to say about this offensive line because I don't love it, but I also don't think it's like a season reckoning league. Like you said, most teams don't have great lines.
Right.
And I don't think they have I don't even think they maybe have a bottom 10 line. Like they're somewhere in the middle. And that's okay, as long as Trent Williams is there, I should say, right? If Trent Williams goes down, then they probably then they have a bottom 10 line. But if Trent Williams is there, they're somewhere in the middle. It's not like it ruins their chances at making a playoff run or anything. It's just another position group that we don't feel great about. And if this is the only position group we didn't feel great about, then fine. But then we were just talking about the wide receivers, and we're talking about how so many young guys have to step up. And then we were talking about safeties. And then we haven't even mentioned the defensive tackles. And then the linebackers outside of Fred Warner. It's like too many things that were just like, well, this could work out. Or this is not that big of a deal. It's like, but when you put it all together, it is a really big deal.
I was looking this morning because people talk about, it's not as deep of a team as it was in 2019. And the 2019 team unquestionably on defense was deeper. On offense, I think I could make the argument that this team is just as deep as that team, quite frankly. Like the 2019 offense was not loaded with a bunch of guys where you're like, oh my God, they were phenomenal. 2023 was way better, not even close. I think the depth on offense is fine. Nobody has a deep offensive line. So forget that. Like you could say the 49ers offensive line is not deep. Tell me the team that has 2 and 3 guys along the offensive line that are really good. It doesn't exist.
No.
Wide receiver, I think they got a bunch of wide receivers that are fine. I think it's fine. It's not amazing at everybody, but it's fine. Brandon Ayuk, if he's come back and healthy, to me, he's a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Pearsall, I think, can be good. We'll find out. Demarcus Robinson, perfectly solid player. George Kittle, best tight end in the league. Running back, Christian McCaffrey, phenomenal. I think the guys they got behind Christian McCaffrey, perfectly serviceable running backs. I wouldn't be scared if Isaac Guerrero or Jordan James had to start a game. I wouldn't love it, but I'm not sitting there like, oh my God, it's not Patrick Taylor back there.
I mean, yeah, Patrick Taylor. I mean, it could be, right? If they go 4 or 5 deep again. But yeah, as long as Christian McCaffrey doesn't miss like a long amount of time, then yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? You can start any running back for a game or 2 and it'll be okay.
Howard M says, what if this offensive line gets your quarterback killed? Then what are you saying? What are you going to say now? Quarterback, you can't negate any and all quarterback injuries with an offensive line. I feel like this is a thing with 49ers fans. Like every quarterback injury is not the fault of the offensive line. Every sack necessarily is not the fault of the offensive line. Every offensive line is going to give up quarterback hits, and every offensive line is going to give up sacks. Like you can't just, if the 49ers had a better offensive line, Brock would never get hurt. That's just not the reality.
Yeah, but a better offensive line does keep you safer. The less times you get hit, the less likely you are to get injured, right? Now, it doesn't mean that, I mean, the best offensive line could give up a really, really bad sack, right? Just like they could have been great and they give up a sack and their quarterback happens to get hurt. But the probability of it goes down with less hits.
But how many times have we seen Brock Purdy get the ball and hold it and nobody's open and he runs around and he holds it and he holds it and he holds it. And then eventually he throws it and he takes a big hit when he could have just dropped back, extended the play a little, chucked it out of bounds and not taken a hit at all. But people are going to say, oh, Brock Purdy gave up a hit. Oh, the offensive line gave up a quarterback hit. No, like a lot of it's on Brock too.
It is, but there's a happy medium that he could find, right? We wouldn't want him to go to throwing away too quickly. Like Russell Wilson last year as a Steelers fan. I mean, that dude was so scared to get hit. He was going to throw that away and not try immediately. You never want to be the Derek Carr who will throw it away on 4th down because he's scared to get hit. God. I mean, he did that twice in his career, just threw it out of bounds on 4th down. Like, that's embarrassing. So I'm happy to have a quarterback that's willing to sit in there and isn't scared to get hit, but he does need to play a little bit smarter. Where not every time, like, think about the situation. Is it 1st down? Do you like live to play another down, right? Yes, if it's 3rd, 4th down and a game's on the line, do everything you can, hold on to it. But he needs to be smarter with the situations for sure.
Well, and the frustrating thing for me with Brock is not just that he doesn't throw the ball away quickly enough, is that a lot of times when he does hold it and wait, he still puts it in the field of play and he kind of puts it in danger, in harm's way a lot of the times. I feel like that's where some of his interceptions have come from as well. Like one of the most frustrating things about Brock is he does do so much extending the play, but also he doesn't just let the play die. Like, you just throw it away, dude. Just drop back. It's not there. Just throw it away. Like, please. Yeah. He never does it. And even when he does eventually throw it away, he still ends up taking a hit. And it's like, it doesn't have to be this way.
I know. I do like those type of quarterbacks though, for the most part. And then it can drive you crazy a little bit, but we can't be super pumped when he makes a play after holding on to it for a while and then be mad when he, makes a bad play. It's like, you gotta, this is just the type of player he is. And yes, you want it reined in a bit and hopefully it does. Like Josh Allen will still try to do everything in his power to make a play, but he has worked on getting better at not always holding on to it too not long, like just throwing it up. He's worked on that. And it took Allen like 4 years in the NFL to figure that out. So Brock Purdy will figure it out. Just take some time. He's still young.
Yes, I do think that is something that you can work on as a quarterback. I think part of it too just comes from like after a few years, you're like, damn, I just don't want to get hit anymore. I think that is part of it. Like naturally, you're just like, all right, screw this. I'm getting.
And having Christian McCaffrey as a check down will be huge too.
Yes, having more faith in the checkdowns in general will be a huge thing for Brock Purdy. And speaking of Mr. Purdy, he was a guest on the Tim Kawakami podcast, the TK show. He sat down with Timmy, and I thought he had an interesting answer about last season and just generally how things went.
People can make this narrative on, we didn't make playoffs or we had guys that were hurt. Does that correlate to how good Brock is or whatever? But in my eyes, we're a couple plays away from winning games and getting in the playoffs and having a run. And I think that's something that I have to learn from. But at the same time, I have to sink back into getting better every single year. Yes, but we're a couple moments away, man, from getting in the playoffs and making a run, if you ask me. And so the past is the past. Injuries, things happen throughout a season. But at the same time, I know who I am and where I need to get better. And these coaches and everyone here believes in me. And I'll continue to show up and be the same guy every day.
Couple of things. I think he's annoyed with the criticism of his play last year when he would say, hey, we had a ton of injury. Like, I think that bothers him that people think he was so bad last year. But number two, he's not wrong about we were a few plays away, but that's the life in the NFL. Everybody is a few plays away.
They did lose, 6 games by 6 or fewer points. I mean, they really were a few plays away from being a 12-win team instead of a 6-win team, right? And sometimes that happens and you have unlucky endings. And normally, if you're the opposite way, where you're winning a bunch of games close, like by 6 points, it ends up going backwards the next year, where it's like, okay, well, we won 12 games this year. Well, it's like, yeah, well, you won 6 to 8 of them on these really close calls. That's why the Commanders are an interesting team, because they won so many games at the last minute. I think they won like the last 5 games of the year on like a final drive play. That can change really quickly. Your luck, the bounce of the ball. So I do think he's right in that way, that the ball just did not, in terms of injuries and in terms of just like in-game play, it just felt like everything always went against the 49ers and everything was just so difficult.
6 of their 11 losses were one-score games where the Niners had the ball and a chance to take control of the game and failed to execute. 6 of the 11. So half, more or less. But as Foot points out, Purdy, you were a couple of costly interceptions in the fourth quarter away from winning those games. Some of those plays he's talking about being a few plays away were bad plays by him. That Rams game late in the year, that interception that he throws with, 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game. I literally almost punched my television.
That Rams game where they would have won if Deebo Samuel just could catch a ball.
That's part of it too, right? Like, it all goes into the stew. But even after the Deebo drop, you could have still won that game. I was just going through.
But he's right that it's a couple plays. Like, yeah, Brock Purdy could have, not thrown an interception. Deebo Samuel could have caught the ball. Any of those defenders could have caught Matthew Stafford's 30 interceptions he tried to throw in that game. Like, it was that close. So he was right. And it can't just be all put on Brock because he threw an interception in the pouring down rain. Stafford literally, I can't say literally because he didn't. I don't know what the word is. He tried his hardest to throw a good 8 to 10 interceptions in that game.
Technically, you can say literally, because so many people have used it wrong now that the actual definition is both the reality of what happened and an expression of, exaggeration. It's one of the most annoying things about the English language to me. But like week 3 against the Rams, you're up 7, right? You miss a 55-yard field goal that would have put you up 2 scores. The Rams score a touchdown. Niners get the ball and punt. You allow a big punt return. The Rams kick a field goal in the last, closing seconds, 2 seconds left in the game. You lose that game. Week 5 in Arizona, you're up 2 points in the fourth quarter. You're at the 12-yard line, and Jordan Mason fumbles with 6 minutes left in the game. You're about to make that a 2-score game. Arizona gets a field goal, takes the lead. Brock throws the pick on the final drive. And yeah, Brock throws the pick. You had a chance to come back. But like you were saying, Jordan Mason fumbles at the 12-yard. They're doing the thing. They're running the ball at the end of the game to kill the clock, to go up multiple scores. They don't get it done. Week 11 against Geno Smith and the Seahawks. You're up 17-13. There's less than 4 minutes to go. You do nothing with the ball. You punt it. Geno Smith gets it back, drives down the field, scores a game-winning touchdown with 12 seconds left. We already mentioned the Rams game. Week 16 against Miami. You're down 5. 2 minutes to go. Brock Purdy throws an interception, and then the defense can still stop and get the ball back and give the Niners a chance. Instead, they allow Achane to run for a 50-yard touchdown. That game gets out of hand. And then the Lions game in week 17, the last game Brock started. You're down 6, 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Brock Purdy has the ball, 1-score game. He throws a hideous interception over the middle of the field. Defense allows a touchdown. That game gets out of hand. 6 of the 11 losses were like that, Michelle.
Yeah. I mean, the defense didn't come through when we needed them. Brock Purdy threw interceptions at bad times. There was costly fumbles. I mean, and again, the ball just always didn't bounce their way. And then the special teams that you brought up, like special teams was real bad as well.
I heard Dieter and Hutch talking about basically, I guess, in these OTAs that they are going so hard on special teams. Like Brant Boyer was like beating the hell out of these guys as much as he can within the rules. And their point was kind of like, he thinks the 49ers are finally acknowledging that, like, hey, special teams may actually have to win us a couple of games this year as opposed to just not screwing it up.
I don't even know. I don't think that's even true. Like, I don't think it has to win you any games, but you can't be allowing 40-yard returns, right? Or you can't be getting 40-yard returns and always getting called back for the penalty. Like, just clean it up.
Yeah, Debo had at least, I think, 2 or maybe 3 kick returns that were really good that got called back. Yeah. Now, maybe he doesn't have those good returns. It's a penalty doesn't happen. I don't know. But I got my eye on the special teams. I hesitate to bring this up, Michelle, because I know you're going to eye roll. Jake Moody apparently has been killing it.
Yeah, he can he can kick, but is he clutch? That's all it comes down to for kickers. All these kickers that are in the NFL, they can make field goals from anywhere on the field. Like, that's, there's only 32 of them on, like, during the season that are on active rosters, right? 32 people in this world that are able to make be a starting kicker, be the main kicker for a team in any given season. So you have to be absolutely amazing at what you do. Obviously, Jake Moody is an amazing kicker. The point is, can you handle the game pressure? I don't care what Jake Moody does in practice.
I know.
I care what he does in games and big moments at the end of games. And we're going to wait for him to lose us a game or two before they move on from him. I hope he doesn't. Like, I hope he proves me wrong and he's awesome and he comes back next year. But like, whatever he does this year, you're just not going to, it's not going to tell you anything until we get into the games.
The craziest thing about him, the thing that I cannot understand is there were so many times where he would be in a game and it would be sort of a pressure kick, not like a game-winning kick, but like a, hey, you'll go up by 2 scores if he makes this kick, and he missed it. But yet in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the year, he made the longest kick ever in a Super Bowl at that time. Now, it got eclipsed in that game, but when he made it, it was the longest one. And he made a kick from like 55 yards away with less than 2 minutes to go to give his team the lead in the 4th quarter, drilled it. Like the most pressure-packed situation you could be in for a kicker, and he came through. But other less pressurized situations, he like never came through. I can't justify that in my brain.
It's the inconsistency for me, right? That's like the worst thing about a kicker, because it's like, if you're that middle ground kicker where you're good enough, and for the most part, you can make these tough kicks, and maybe you came through and won a couple games. But the inconsistency where then you drop a couple, or it's just like ones that you should be making and it goes down. And then it's so hard to cut you because you're like, can we find someone better or not? It's like that middle ground where you don't know if you can find someone that upgrades you or not. So Jake Moody could be like the Derek Carrs of quarterbacks.
I shouldn't have mentioned that Seahawks game because now people in the chat are reliving it. Cynthia says that Geno Smith touchdown ticked me off, honestly. Benali says if they stop Geno on that drive and Geno ends his career as a Seattle Seahawks winless against the 49ers, that one enraged me because there's a contingent of people, smart people, Mina Kimes is one of them, that thinks Geno Smith is really good. I don't think Geno Smith is really good, but the fact that they lost to him last year where he drove down the field and he stuck it in the end zone, like that one kills me.
That was, it was gross. That's the only word for it. Gross.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right. Before we go, a lot of people have been asking about this, Michelle, and you know where I'm going to take this. Your boy, Aaron Rodgers, back in black for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. How you feeling about it?
So I have a really important announcement. I was going to start with this, but then I had to talk about my ranch donut. I am officially a 49ers fan first. for at least this season. Until Aaron Rodgers is gone, I am fully a 49ers fan. That's how I identify as right now. And until Rodgers is out of Pittsburgh, I will not be rooting for that team.
You are disavowing your Steelers fandom because of Aaron Rodgers.
I am. I'm pretty much thinking it's going to be for one season and one season only. I'm sure it'll burn down terribly, or they're going to go 9-8 like they always do and lose miserably in the wild card round. I don't think I'm going to miss much this year, right? I work for the NFL, so I still have to watch those games because I have to watch all the games. But 49ers, that's all I care about this year. 49ers, baby.
Well, as a lifelong 49er fan, let me just say, welcome. We're happy to have you. Feel free to stay as long as you'd like. I don't think you're going to want to leave, quite frankly.
Listen, as long as Shanahan gets his head out of his butt a little bit more this year and does some things that we want him to do, I will be a very happy 49ers fan. But it's also going to be interesting this year because we have no idea what to expect out of the season. At least I don't. And I'm really happy that the schedule is easy because if the schedule was hard, I feel like we'd be going into this a lot more dreary and expecting a really bad season. I'm excited though because there's so much unpredictability with this roster and who's going to step up and who's not. So it's going to be a really fun season, I think.
It is going to be a fun, could be the operative word. Now, obviously, if they lose games, you're miserable, but it could be really fun because they might start stacking these wins and you're like, oh my God. I mean, they realistically could start the year 4-1 or 3-1, let's say, if we just take the first 4 games. Seahawks, Saints, Cardinals, Jags. Now you got 2 division games in there, but they should easily handle the Saints, who are just a tire fire at quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, I'm still convinced, is not good. I know Liam Cohen is a good coordinator, but they should beat the Jags. If they win one of those 2 division games to start the year, you're 3-1 right out of the gate. And you're like, all right, we're building something here.
It's crazy that you look at the schedule and that second, fourth, I guess, of the schedule with the Rams, Buccaneers, Falcons, Texans. That's the hardest stretch by far. Yes. And those are still all very winnable games, right? It's not like you're going into those like, we have no shot to win this. It's not like with the stretch last year where we didn't say they had no shot, but it was super hard where they had to go at Buffalo, at the Packers. I think that Chiefs in there. Yeah. Yep. So like that stretch was insanely hard. And now this stretch is like, yeah, these are the hardest ones on the schedule, but they're still, they should be going into all of those besides maybe the Rams. We'll see what they look like to start the year as the favorite to win.
And also, I'm just starting to get a little worried about CJ Stroud in Houston. He's not throwing. He hasn't thrown at all in OTAs. And they asked D'Amico Ryans, did he have any offseason procedure on his shoulder? And D'Amico Ryans didn't answer the question. He refused to answer it. I'm just saying that's a worrying situation. So who knows what Houston's going to be. And that is really probably their toughest game outside of the Rams. That's like one of the toughest games on their schedule. So I agree.
Well, that's week 8 though. I mean, if CJ Stroud's not back by, well, hopefully, I mean, I'm rooting for the Texans and CJ Stroud, like the outside of the 49ers this year. I'll be rooting for them because I live in Houston, but I'm also really excited to go to that game. Obviously I'll be rooting for the 49ers, but I still going to that game. I want CJ Stroud to be playing. Like, I don't want the 49ers to go beat up on Davis Mills.
I do. Again, I don't care. Like, give me all backup quarterbacks. I don't care. The trophy doesn't count any less. So whatever route they have to go. Did you actually buy the tickets for that game?
No, I didn't. Yeah, but I will.
Okay. All right. We got a question here from Foot. Fantasy football question. Which duo will have more touchdowns? Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, or Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall?
I think it's Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf. Like, I think Ricky Pearsall will probably get about 7. But DK with Aaron Rodgers, DK is like a touchdown machine. He should get 8 to 10.
Yeah, I think that Brock might have more touchdowns overall, but that specific combo and that specific receiver, I think I would tend to go with Aaron Rodgers. Also, because I think Aaron Rodgers will just start chucking it up to DK Metcalf.
It's his only guy to pass to. It's going to be a disaster. I can't believe I'm going to be rooting. I can't believe I'm going to be watching Steelers games rooting for them to lose. That is wild to me. But also, as like, I'm going to go back to Steelers fandom, right? That's the perfect thing for me almost, is getting to watch them and hoping they lose, because then Aaron Rodgers will be gone and they'll have an earlier draft pick to find their next quarterback. So I'm going in this year as the biggest Steelers hater of all time. I want them to lose every game, get Archie Manning, and let's go. Like it's actually kind of fun now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. He's not coming out, and then you're just going to have to endure another crap season for nothing. Anyway, we got a long way to go before that. Sean says, wait to buy your tickets because they're going to drop.
Yeah.
Great one.
And Sean, he asked if I'll see him at the game. We should definitely meet up.
Great one 765 says Rodgers is still better than Purdy right now. I totally disagree with that. If nothing else, Brock Purdy is willing to take a hit. Aaron Rodgers is not willing to take a hit anymore. So
Brock Purdy is no. I would take Brock Purdy even outside of all the things I hate about Aaron Rodgers. I would take Brock Purdy in a heartbeat over Aaron Rodgers just off of where they're at in their careers right now.
I completely look. Aaron Rodgers is 40. Okay, it's slightly different, but anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. I promise you, if this is your first time, give us another shot. You will be liking what you see. You will come back for more. Michelle, I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Oh, I will. I'm going to brunch in a little bit. It's going to be a great day. Great day.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.